Up, guys? Ryan here. It's now your weekly serving of rye bread. Um, Again, I'm very sorry for having to get rid of the daily, but when you take on a bigger job, you really need to you focus more on the job and less on the blog a little bit. But I'm still happy to be able to do this for you guys. But it's week 5, and I wanted to make this all about my post earlier in the week on Facebook. It's all about not how much you know, but it's how much you care. And this can be transferred to a lot of things in life. But first off, with training, it's all about how much you care about your client. And I learned this back in my senior year of college. I was in an internship, and I mentioned this before in other tapings and blogs. I walked into the internship, and they said, "You need to know everyone's name. You need to know everything about them, or you can get out and stuff." And I thought they were joking. I thought this was going to be the thing for me and stuff, but it ended up working out, and I learned so much from that internship. It's at One-on-One Fitness, by the way, up in State College. Shout out to them. They're excellent corporation establishment up there. They do a great business, and I can't be more thankful enough than to be able to be a part of that internship and learn from them. But it is all about how much you care. And I see this nowadays in new trainers and everything. Like, I've only been doing this for 5 years, but every session that I walk into, I need to make sure I know everyone's name. I know something about them. I know what they did over the weekend. I need to engage with them. Any type of training session for me, it's just like a customer service. It's just like you're any customer service job. If you're a Walmart, or if you're a cashier and stuff. If you're making a sales pitch, you need to show that client that you care about them, because they don't care how much you know. Like, no one's gonna ask. No one wants to know the definition or the medical terms, or the insertion or origin points. Like, yes, you need to know something, but the great thing that I learned at that internship is you can know 5 exercises, okay, 5 exercises perfectly, and you can continue to perfect those exercises with those clients. And as long as you show that you care and that you're diligent and that you understand what they want, that's all that matters. And I still have so much to learn in the training field. There's so many things, but the most important thing for me is to care every session, and that has gotten me so far in the training world. As you switch from gym to gym, um, people start to they like your training style, and they will follow you if you show them you care. And I've had that happen to me twice in the past 3 years, where I've changed from gym to gym. The first gym, I had 3 follow me. The second, well, we won't get into that, but there's been a lot of people that are following, and it does say a lot about the person that someone is if they're willing to follow from another gym. And that's where the care comes in. But ways you can show that you care. You need to know everyone's name. Everyone wants to be called by name. I cannot walk up to someone and say, "Hey man, how's it going?" Like, I can get that away with that once or twice, but everyone likes to hear their name. "Hey Matt, great job on that spot. Hey Matt, great job with that lift. You kept your knees in. Great job." Them hearing their name is a psychological thing. It's like, "Oh man, okay, yeah, I'm doing great." And it shows that, man, this guy really cares, and he's really watching how I'm doing. If I would just say, "Hey man, keep it up, that's good," you can get away with it, like I said, once or twice, but really know their name, and don't forget it. And then don't just stop with their name. Know their wives' names, know their wife, know their kids, know what they did over the weekend. Engage with them. You're selling a service, especially as a trainer. You're selling a service. You are, training them, but you need to get to know your clients' lives, because if you don't, then there's going to be nothing to talk about. And especially if you're one-on-one training, like, one-on-one training can be very difficult sometimes, especially if the person doesn't want to talk. There are people that don't talk at all. I've had many people like that. But you really want to engage with your clients and know a lot about them and caring and knowing their names and wives and kids. It just shows so much how much you care. But I think the number one thing that I always like to do is and comes with a little bit of experience, but I want to make sure that I never repeat an exercise unless it's to say, hey, I want to test your strength. I want to see if you do better than last time. But you got to give them something they've never seen before. And especially with the training, I want to give them something that it's like, oh man, I'm paying all this money. I want to see something new. I want to see something that may not have, just throw in your creativity, throw in your style. And that's a sign how you care. But you got to figure out what it is that you can do to show that you care. And it's just little things like that, Like I said, remembering names and birthdays and going that extra little step because, the personal training industry, if you're going one-on-one, you're spending about $1 a minute. That's the average cost. But to really get your name out there, you can just start with one client. And then that person can go tell, hey, this guy's great. And then they tell another person, then they tell another person. And that's how everything kind of builds up. That's how everything's kind of built up for me. That one person tells this person, that person tells that person, and then you got a big following. So showing that you care is the most important thing, more than how much you know. I do want to tell a story back when I was 23, 24, first real training job. I had one client. That was it. And she would come in only once a week. And I tried to talk, hey, let's do 2, 3. She's like, nope, I only want to do one. And I was so miserable because I only had one client. And I made sure, all right, I'm going to give her, this is my only client. I'm going to give her the best session possible every time. So I made sure I mixed up the exercises. I gave her things that she's never seen before. I engaged in conversation. I made sure what's your daughter's name? What's your husband's name? What are you doing this weekend? Do you have any common goals that we share together and stuff like that? And I trained her for about a year. And then at the end of that year, I got a new job up in Allentown here. And I went and I told her, and she started to break down a little bit. And I was like, why are you crying? She's like, Ryan, you don't understand. She's like, you have meant so much in my life. To that once a week training her and showing that I cared and engaging in conversation, that it touched me a little bit because when you always tell someone it's like I'm losing my trainer, it's a kick in the stones. It really is, because you trust this person to take you and help reach goals and stuff, and you trust this person to make sure that you're not going to get hurt and that you're going to get a great workout. And that's where I really started. That's where I really started to learn. It's like it's all about how much you care, and it really is. And it came back up again when I did a little webinar on Monday. Bill Parisi, who's a top-notch speed and athlete training guru in the industry. I listened to one of his webinars and stuff, and that was what he talked about. It's all about how much you care and not how much you know, and that's how you keep clients. That's how you retain them. I love that. I love that thing. But his one story was about 3 stonesmen, and I think this is really important. 3 stonesmen, they're making stone for the city, and everyone wants to, they want to make the best stone. So this one bystander, sees the 3 stonesmen working at this time, and he walks up to the first one, and he's like, sir, what are you doing here? And the stonesman's like, don't you see that I'm busting my butt to be able to put food and food and water and everything on the table? It's like, why don't you just leave me alone so I can get back to my job? It's like, I got to support my family. The guy's like, okay, that's fine. So he walks up to number 2. He asks the same question. He's like, sir, what are you doing here? He's like, can't you see? He's like, I am the best stonesman in the country. I'm the best stonesman in the city. I make stones better than anyone else does. It's like, now you're disrupting my work. Why don't you go talk to someone else? And he's like, okay, okay. So he walks up to number three, stone to number three. He's like, sir, madam, what are you doing? And he's like, can't you see that I am trying to help make the best stone possible for this city? And he's like, trying to help. He's like, I am doing this for my team. He's like, oh, okay, okay. And the real like thing of the real debate is, you'd ask, which one would you fire if you had to choose one person, number one, number two, or number three? And it was interesting because I picked number two, and it was the same reason that Bill gave too about it. So number three, showed that teamwork, that he wanted to help make the best stone. So you want that great teamwork. But then it was between one and two, and I picked two because he wanted to be the best, and it's not always about being the best. Number one did it because he cared for his family. A lot of people picked one, but that's where I saw, I was like, he cares so much to keep working. He works 16 hours, but he cares because he needs to put the money, the food on the table and make the money. So the lesson of the story is, you'd probably fire number two because they want to be the best. That ego, sometimes can get away from how much you care. You want to be the best, how much you care. They kind of shy off a little bit. So that's a little story there to think about. But guys, it's all about caring. Don't just think about this as a personal training thing. I apply this into kind of everyday life. I've messed up before with not caring in whether it be business, clients, relationships. You go through things, and you learn. But all I can say is, care about everything you do, whether it be one client, whether it be 10 clients, whether it be 100 clients. You got to show that you care. People don't care how much you know until they see how much you care. And if they care, then they'll start to ask what you know. But as long as they know that you care, you're set up for a long, good haul with that person, and you'll be fine. So that's just like my little spiel there, about care versus how much you know. And just care, people. Just care, and you'll go a long way, I guarantee it. So thanks, guys. This is all it's going to be this week, but we'll get back on the horse next week. But care instead of no, and it's going to get you a long way. So thanks, guys. Have a good rest of your night.